All right. Well, welcome back to it's going to be my second live video that I'm doing on YouTube. And if this is your first time watching, I'm trying to do these weekly just to be able to give you kind of a little bit of a market update and then also kind of answer some of your questions. I have questions that I've written down that I've previously asked, but then also if you are watching live and you want to submit questions, you can do that. So, kind of just want to get started with a market update. But before I do that, let me introduce myself. My name is Kinsley Hauser. I am a local realtor in Edmond and its surrounding areas. I love helping people move every single day, getting to work with people and helping them find their dream homes. So if you're thinking about moving to Edmond, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to connect with you and to help you on your move. And so, kind of to get into a little bit of a market update, and I explained this a little bit last week, but it's hard to do a market update looking month per month because they don't come out until the month ends. And so, what we're seeing in January is quite different than what happened in December. December was pretty slow, especially getting into the holiday season. And then January definitely is starting to pick up. So, last week I shared just some local MLS statistics, some Edmond and Oklahoma City statistics. And so this week, I want to share with an MLS statistics within our whole MLS. So that's kind of more of like the central part of Oklahoma. We had 498 houses that went pending. That's just two less than the week before. So almost 500 houses this week went pending, and then 448 went on the market. So again, more went pending than that went on the market. Here in Edmond, we had 87 go pending, which was actually seven more than last week. And then we had 66 new listings, which was actually three less than the previous week, but still, seeing more houses go pending than what is coming on the market. So that what that shows us or what that tells us is that housing inventory is starting to decrease. More are being taken than what's being put on, which is what's going to start creating this more of a seller's market as the competition increases. And then for the Oklahoma City kind of MLS, 125 went pending and 111 new listings. So definitely the gaps as far as new listings to pendings is getting greater and greater. And like I said, this is creating uh, really more of that seller's market. And same is true, kind of what I shared last week. We're definitely starting to see multiple offers, specifically on houses that are maybe in the 2 to 300 price range, 2 to 300,000 dollar price range, but also even some in the four, five, sixes. If it's a very desirable neighborhood that the houses don't come on the market very often, and when they do, people tend to want to move into those areas. There's certain just styles of houses at a specific price range that people are constantly on the lookout for. And when they don't happen very often, then as soon as one comes up, it's those people try to kind of snatch it. So anyway, we are seeing multiple offers in really all price categories, but really specifically in that 2 to 300,000 dollar range. And like I think I said last week, I think the people who start shopping in March and April are going to wish that they would have started in January and February because it's already starting to increase. The market is, and I think just even more so as it gets closer to spring, we're going to see even more and more of that. So I do want to get into some questions. I don't want these videos to be super long. I want to try to keep them as concise and straight to the point as possible. So some questions that I have, because I don't think anybody's on live right now, but I do have some questions written down from previous questions. And I know last week I talked about snow and ice, and last week we actually had some snow. This week we have ice. It was sleeting last night. It froze over, and the streets were super icy this morning. But it is kind of warming up today, and I think starting to melt. So for those who have asked about weather, yeah, we get some ice. We got it last night. So, and then also this week I was asked about kind of the spring season, if that's when the weather gets really bad. The spring is definitely going to be one of the times of the year where the weather is going to be kind of worse conditions. And like last April is when we had a hailstorm that, for at least where our house was, it allowed us to be able to get a new roof with our insurance, but it didn't cause enough damage where it was actively leaking. It just had a lot of damage over the whole roof. But our roof was also pretty old. So definitely the springtime, April, you are going to have a greater threat for tornadoes, for hail. Yeah, so I would say April is probably one of the biggest times that you're going to experience that. They also asked, is that when the trees kind of start to go green? And I would say for the most part, yes. End of March, April, depending on how long it stays cold, you'll start to see like the grass start to turn green and the trees start to have leaves again. I also was asked about grocery stores on the western side of Edmond because when you're in central to eastern Edmond, you do have probably a broader range of grocery stores just because central Edmond is really, I mean, that's the oldest part. And as it's grown, it grows outward. And so in central Edmond, you do have a lot of grocery stores, and then as you get farther east, you get less and less, but there is a brand new Crest and a new Walmart and Sam's Club or newer that is over on East Edmond off I-35. West Edmond is actually going to probably be have the least amount of grocery stores compared to the rest of Edmond. We do have a new Homeland that just came in. It's a little bit, I think, pricier than some other grocery stores. And so as developments have been moving outward, there's been a lot of neighborhoods, but the commercial side of it is just now starting to kind of catch up to where the residential is starting to build out. So now commercial starting to build out as well. So that's where we see the homeland. But I do believe in the next 5 years or so, we'll see a big growth of grocery stores and also restaurants and just overall stores in general. There is Jackby Grocery, which is you can only drive up, you can't go inside of it. So there is that one as well, but definitely not a huge Crest or Walmart or anything like that over in Western Edmond. Um, and I've often kind of had to warn people as they come into town, because if you come into Edmond and you're not used to it, and you come on a Saturday, every Saturday at noon, they test the tornado sirens. And so I've had people visiting, and I'm showing them houses, and maybe we're not together at that time, but we'll be driving somewhere and the sirens will go off. And I think, oh goodness, I need to warn them about what that is because they can be really loud, especially if you're closer to the sirens. So if you're ever visiting on Saturday at noon and you hear sirens, that is the test sirens, just making sure that they still work. So that's probably something that you need to know. And if you are visiting, I know sometimes people look for hotels to stay in. Some people prefer Airbnbs, whatever. But for hotels, there's not a ton of hotels in Edmond. But really, if you are looking and you're interested in kind of more on the western side of Edmond, then I would probably end up staying in like Northwest Oklahoma City off of Memorial. And if you are more interested in East Edmond, there are some hotels off of I-35 up in Edmond. So that's kind of probably where I would suggest looking. Um, let's see what this one says. That got me my first time. Oh, that got me my first time in Oklahoma. I'm thinking maybe the hail. Yeah, it's a comment on here. When we experienced hail for the first time, it's kind of crazy. It's not what you are expecting necessarily. It dented our cars a little bit that year. Anyway, let's see. Another question that I have probably answered before, but I get asked a decent amount is has to do with builders. And so I want to I actually posted a video on Beacon Homes this past week. And so far it's been a pretty good performing video for my channel. And oh, the sirens. Yes. Sorry, the sirens got you when you were here visiting. Yeah, me too. When we moved here for the first time, it's a little scary, and especially where our house is and where like one of the sirens is, it is so loud that it is scary. It gets you. But back to builders, Beacon Homes, I did a video on them. They're a builder that I've really enjoyed working with. On the eastern side of Edmond, Shiloh Homes is the builder is a friend of mine, and he builds a really custom looking, very beautiful, built home as well. And there's builders all over Edmond. So if you are looking at some, I definitely suggest just contacting me, and we can, even in a home building process, I still think it's super important to have a realtor on your side because the builder will have a realtor representing them. And I mean, I think it's beneficial for you to have a realtor representing you. Going to be, I think, better for negotiations, for that whole process, just somebody on your side advocating for you. So I always suggest, if you're thinking about building, definitely go through a realtor, whether it's me or another one, but find somebody who's going to advocate for you and who is really going to be your person, not maybe somebody who's splitting and really working for the builder and just helping you alongside. So that's kind of the main questions that I have that I want to answer. I want to try to keep this under 10 minutes and we're getting close. And so again, if you are watching this and you have a question and you weren't able to ask it live, you can send it to my email, kinsley@block1group.com. And I would love to just be able to answer that question for you in my next live. So I'm sorry that this week I had to push it back to 1 o'clock, but from here on out, it should be at noon Central Time every Monday. And thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll catch you in my next video.